This is the yearly horoscope predictions for year 2023, and you have a very interesting year this year in 2023. And you know how things are really work when things are on their own and they take their own life. In 2023, the similar things are happening with you. You are already cautious there, and lot of emotions are running wild in this year, and lot of laughter, fun, and everything is also coming, and you are able to charm the people around you, the janta, or people or public around you will be charmed by your ways, by your glorious tasks, which you are glorious, the objectives or glorious aims and the achievements that you are going to take in this year in 2023. And by all logic, by all means, this is all yours in this year 2023. And in this video we are going to talk about the months also, and we are going to talk about these sections also: love, health, money, career, family, and other plans like travel and happiness, overall happiness. Like this we are going to talk about in this. Let's first of all begin this with the how this year is looking for you month wise. So rightly starting from January, Jan looks absolutely the new start for you. Leos do have some carryover from the previous year in this 2023, and Jan half you will see by the half of the Jan that it will start picking up. You have new ambitions, you have new goals, those are picking up, and really by the month of Feb begins, you will be fully into your new goals and absolutely the new love also. March will see some sort of hurdle, some sort of setbacks in your goals, but you will continue, you will go on. The beauty of Leo is basically they can go on despite having hurdles or obstacles. Okay, within the month of April things will start looking up again, very good, and by the end of the May you will have achieved one or two glorious goals for certain. Okay, while the June begins, you are in the again mood of conquering the different difficult tasks, and you will assign yourself something difficult. And July and August you will plan and you will make good progress. In September and October you are going to have some property related issues coming your way, and you will be able to sort them out. Okay, by the end of this year, November and December, you will be having peace and tranquil life, and some of the carry forward will move into 2024. So that's how your months are looking in the year of 2023, sorry. And then let's figure this out, how your love life and health, money, career, and family, and couple of other things are stacked in this year. So this year, if we go on looking at your love life looks absolutely, certainly there is going to be an interesting part here. You will be moving ahead in this one, and you want to trust the people this year, and absolutely in the matters of love you will be trusting somebody. And also you do not want to experiment, you do not want to change the partner, because once you trust, you feel they should be loyal towards you, and many of them are really loyal towards you, but some of them will really be on a very different note as well. But as far as your married life is concerned, there is happiness and there is family expansion. Okay, so things are looking absolutely bright in the matters of love. And also this year you are going to have the long journeys with your partner, and also there is going to be the co-joint or joint combination or joint effort with your partner to make better money this year. And if you are looking for any kind of love marriage or any kind of marriage which is either civil or marriage or love marriage, then it's the year where things are looking absolutely fine for you. Next, let's take a look at the health part. How is your health looking like in this year? this year, if we look at in this year, the health is not looking the way you wish it to be. Okay, some or the other, some setback will arrive, will have, and also you will be facing some troubles which come due to weather change, or the older problems may really crop up and may trouble you. And also your stress level may be little bit elevated this year. But anyways, as long as you are keeping yourself busy with the stress management, yoga, and couple of spiritual things, you will be absolutely fine. And there may be some here and there some medical attention you may require in the year of 2023. But anyway, nothing serious. All these are very smaller problems for you, so just okay. Now let's look at the money part. Okay, the money part is looking absolutely fantastic, and though there may be some problems, there may be some more than normal effort required to clear the exams, and if you are looking for some sort of the good way to make it worth into your newer college or newer areas, you have to really put some hard work there. And money situation is looking good, and in this year you are going to make up lot of money, and this money, all this will come from the self-made efforts. Okay, it is not coming anywhere from the sky. Okay, and your career is looking absolutely up this year. The management and everyone is going to praise your efforts. And as I can see, Leos do not like to change their jobs very often, and that's how this year is also looking very stable from that point of view. Okay, next in our list is the family life. What kind of family life is there? So sometimes, most of the time, or sometimes, Leos live their life outside their home, away from their birthplace, and sometimes that really creates some or the other issues back home. Okay, but anyways, the family life is looking good, and you are also getting good support, good respect from the people around you, and wherever you live, neighborhood is going to find you very warm person and responsible person as well. So in whole this year you are going to get good cooperation from your family and from the neighborhood. So feel good, and if you are looking for fighting an election, that's really a good year for you. Okay, now let's go to the other part, which is the travel. How is the travels are looking like in this year? There are a lot of going to be travel in abroad, foreign lands, and you will also be having travels related with spirituality, or spiritual travel, or professional, personal, or for business. All kinds of travel possibilities are there, and most of these travels are going to result in good benefits and good profits. Okay, and you are going to acquire new customers as well. So this year is looking like this. Now let's go to the final section, which is our bonus section. How this year, or which are the ones who are going to support you. You are going to get good support from Taurus, and you are going to get good support from Gemini in year 2023, and that's how your year is stacked up. Okay, please subscribe our channel, and thanks a lot for watching, and God bless you. Yep, we'll keep in touch. Thank you.